Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
There's an article written on crimereads.com, and it says Warrior is the best TV show you're not watching.
I'm watching.
We're watching.
Yes, we're all watching it.
And it's a great show.
But it is
so good.
it's a good statement, right? Like if you're not watching it, you definitely should be watching it. And it is one of the best TV shows. You can watch it on Netflix. All the seasons are there. And the reason why we want you to watch it, because number one, it's a martial arts movie. It's based off of Bruce Lee's what?
It was
Story,
sort of, his writings.
Yeah, his writings. And
Something that
his
he
daughter
wanted.
is the one that kind of executive produced everything, so it makes
Yeah.
everything, seems like everything's good. The acting is great. The fighting is phenomenal.
Yeah, so good.
The story's phenomenal,
The
right?
little nods to Bruce
Yeah.
Lee.
Oh
Yeah.
man, the nods to Bruce Lee are so good because when you know, and you're just like
Yeah, it's just the actors that are like, you know, the ones that are in like the city hall and like the police and then the Irish and like even like the different like gangs, Asian gangs, right? That are in the city and it's like it shows you, it kind of gives you a history lesson of a lot
For
of
sure.
the like what we never even knew.
yeah.
Like I never knew a lot of the stuff that's being portrayed in the
I didn't
in the
realize.
movie.
I mean,
Exactly.
just as a basis, like
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was issues with Irish and Asian immigrants.
Yeah, and you could see why there would be issues too.
Yeah.
If you watch it from a neutral point of view, you see why that they would be mad. But at the same time, they don't understand that the Chinese are there just like the Irish are there.
Yeah,
You're
they
not.
came-
It's not your land,
Yeah.
right? But it's weird how they think it's their land.
I was
Yeah.
here third, and they came fourth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Where
right?
they're like, I think they make the comment a couple times where they're like, "Well, we fought in the Civil War and they didn't," and it's like, yeah,
You didn't fight in the Civil
Yeah.
War. Like, you just come over here like an immigrant just like everybody else.
Basically,
But
they're
yeah,
just
the
saying they're white.
it shows you like every aspect of that time through the Chinese mafia, basically the Chinese gangs, and kind of like because they were deporting people back then, like without anything. They're just like, oh, you got caught, okay, we'll put you on a ship back to China. You know what I mean? They call it the salt.
Across the
Yeah.
salt. Yeah.
Across the salt. The terminology is cool too. Like
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that you've never heard, but
Yeah.
you could actually understand why they would call it. But then there's some terminologies like the ducks.
Yeah.
The ducks, yeah.
Why do they call them ducks? I never understood that.
Actually, I
Did we
didn't.
talk about that? I think we.
Ducks on a pond?
I don't even know.
Well, the pond.
The pond,
They
right?
call the pond that's like everywhere but Chinatown,
That's
right?
right.
So I guess the ducks are just the white people that are allowed to be
Exactly,
in
right?
the pond.
I wonder if
I
that
don't
they
think I've
really
ever-
call them that. It's weird. Like
Yeah.
I never looked.
Do
it
they
up
call
then.
them onions as well?
Yeah, do they call
Onions
them
as well?
onions?
Yeah, onions as well, right?
Yeah.
Maybe because it's white. Onions are white. I don't know.
No, but onions.
No, but onions are the.
I don't want to
are
say
the-
yellow, but the. Like,
They're the
not white,
Asians that
Asian.
crossed over.
Oh, okay. The onions are the Asian that cross over. You see, I've watched it way ahead of everybody else, like you guys.
Yeah.
Because so like I forgot a lot of things that would happen, but there's a lot of cameos in the movie,
Well,
right?
okay, so
Or in
yeah,
the show.
so segue to our last bit. Connor,
Yeah.
perfect for this.
Okay.
Irish, bad guy.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
can chuck
yeah,
him in
yeah.
easy. He'd have a field day there.
Netflix needs to hear this.
Yeah. Season
Connor
4.
needs to hear this.
Shout out Netflix and Connor.
Connor's next role, even
Yeah.
if it's like for
Warrior.
one episode,
Season 4.
Warrior season 4,
Hey, Bisbing was in it.
Irish. Bisbing was in it.
Bisping was great.
Who else was in
Bisbing
it?
was really good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fight scenes were
Oh,
phenomenal with
Even
Bisping.
his like
That was
His acting was
was
not
good.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
not
like-
bad.
But I
Shout out
think
to Bisping.
the fight scenes in that particular episode were just.
it was a great episode.
mean, I
Was it
think
the
that-
one they were on the train as well? When they were fighting on the trains?
I don't even
Remember one of the episodes starts on the train and old boy was fighting on the train because he kind of like had separated from from everybody
Are we
else.
there
Up to
yet?
that? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. We might not be there.
Oh, you
yet.
guys are not there yet? I don't know.
It might
Like, I
be
don't even know
later
what I'm
in
talking
season
about.
3.
We're halfway
Okay.
through season 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I guess maybe I confused it with something
No,
else.
it's the.
Nah, it
it's,
could be, it could be.
it's like very. The episode that we're talking about is very like Enter the Dragon, but in Mexico.
yeah.
And they have all the different. And they
Yeah.
have the one guy with the long nails, and he cuts the main character, and the
Yeah.
main character has the slash. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Enter the Dragon.
yeah.
He moves really well for someone that seems like they don't have a martial arts background.
Man, like,
Doesn't he?
yeah.
Like his
well.
like movement is like really smooth. Like just, it's very impressive, man. What those guys have created, like the characters, like the cop that murdered somebody back
Yeah.
home, and
All
you didn't
of
know
that-
about it, right? The whole time you're like,
yeah.
what did he do? Like,
Every character has awesome development. You either start
Yeah.
from like, that's a nice guy, to what? Like,
yeah.
No!
I can't
Yeah.
stand
Yeah.
you. And
No.
others, you're like, this scumbag. And you're like, no, he's all right. He's a good guy.
Well, and you'll go and you'll have like, you know, even the main character, you know, he goes and at first you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
and then he'll make a decision that maybe you don't like agree with, and you're like, no, wait, no, don't screw this guy over, like, you know, and then it always kind of evens out. But some of the characters, they do such a good job
Yeah.
making you hate them.
Yeah.
In particular, the white
The
people.
white people. Well, I don't know if we should say this, but we were talking that all the Asian characters, we know who's who. Like, you're not going to confuse them. We'd watch, and like a white person would come and like, who's that guy? Have we seen him before? Is that the guy from before? They all like, for lack of a better
We were
word,
like,
look the same.
all the white people look alike.
Because they're all wearing
They're
the
all-
same clothes.
Yeah.
And they all act the same. They're all like
Yeah.
rich, uppity
assholes.
assholes. Yeah.
We're
You're
like,
like, who's this guy? Is it the train guy? No, that's the...
yeah, all the time. We're
The
like,
dynamic of like the main character is Assam.
Yeah,
Assam, right?
Assam.
And his sister's the leader of the rival mafia gang
So
in
good.
the same city, and and how she got into power, right?
Yeah.
That develops throughout the whole time too as well. Like, you know, if you haven't watched it yet, we don't want to give away too much, but yeah, even that storyline.
man, if you haven't watched it, just go watch
Yeah,
it. Like,
this video is to promote
Yeah.
people to watch it,
Man.
so we could get a 4th season on Netflix.
We need a
and
4th
Conor
season.
McGregor
Yes.
can be an Irish
Yes.
gang member or whatever he wants to be, a villain, and he fights Assam. That would
that
be
would
crazy.
be so good.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It's
I'm going to write
perfect.
to Netflix after this.
It's perfect.
Netflix, please.
The title of this is going to be Netflix. Watch. And then whatever else.
I was waiting for
Netflix. Dot.
It's just, yeah.
Watch this.
Mai Ling looks so much like Stan Fairtex. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, actually.
I was like, dang, she does
Yeah.
really look similar to Stan
Yeah.
Fairtex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as he said it,
Yeah. I had to pause for something.
faces over.
And what about the gay dude that's the gangster? Like he's
Oh,
he's the most like
That's
ruthless dude.
I find that very.
That's awesome.
It's good, but it's
Unexpected.
You wouldn't pick it. Like,
no. Because he's like the happy-go-lucky guy. You know, like
I always think, for whatever reason, I think it's funny, his posture is like different than everybody else's, where he's like overly like straight the entire time.
And you know, have you ever
Great
watched
picker.
The Wire?
Yeah.
I've seen episodes.
I've seen episodes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's a character on The Wire named Omar, who's there's this the actor, the black actor. He's dead now. I think he died of a heroin overdose. But he's the guy that has like a scar on his face. You've probably seen him in movies. I don't know his real name, but he was also in Boardwalk Empire. He was the black dude on Boardwalk. He has you cannot miss the scar on his face.
Okay.
Like he has, but he was the most ruthless like gangster in the show, and he was also gay, openly. You know, like in gang culture and
Yeah, you
like
don't-
mafia,
yeah,
like
you
that's
see
something
that,
that's
yeah.
not. But it's crazy like that how they put those things in there, and this
Yeah.
show has
So
it as well.
do you think that that's like the woke world that we're starting to live in?
No, I
we
don't think
want?
so. I
Nah,
don't
you
think so.
it's-
Because The Wire was a long time. It was
That's
like
true,
a
actually.
long
Yeah,
time
I-
ago.
You don't. You see a lot more of that these days.
But I like it though. the reason why I like it is because of course there was somebody that's gay.
exactly.
Of course there was somebody that, of course, like why would you not put it in the story?
And one thing that I thought they did good is like they don't like at one point that one character I'm forgetting his name right now, but he he starts kind of getting shit from other people, but he's already proven himself to Young Jun and Assam, right? So they end up beating the shit out of the one dude, and they're like, look, you don't talk to somebody that's like in with us and everything. It's like, it was a great scene because it's just like, all right, cool. Like, it's not like they're being like overly inclusive, but they're like, hey man, put respect on somebody that has earned respect.
Yeah, for sure. And like pretty much, I think one of the like good like character switches in the show would be like Young Jun. How he became like the leader, and then like his father came back, and like it was just like even that story in itself was a good story. You know what I mean? And Young Jun played by Jason Tobin. Shout out to Jason Tobin. We will see you soon. It's just I liked that he played like the dickhead son, but then he evolved, matured, and like kind of even like was more compassionate at some points, right, compared to other people. And it's just there's so much going on. It's just great acting, and you could tell like a lot of the actors are like really like they're veterans. Yeah. It's not like new actors coming in and acting. Like they're really like veterans. Like we might not know their face, but they've probably been around in like theaters or something, right? It's you just gotta watch it.
Yeah. You do. It's a great. I'm surprised it's not like bigger. One
little aspect to the show, and this is obviously like Hong Kong, is just that they speak Cantonese in it and everything. And it's funny because they don't always, obviously, like they don't always translate everything that they say, because you'll hear like Young Ju being like, and you're like, hey, I know exactly what you're saying.
Like, watching it with you is fun. You give me all the translation.
I'll start like laughing because I can hear like Young Jun like muttering Cantonese, like cursing somebody out, but they don't like translate on the screen. And I'm like, he just called him a bitch, or he just
that's good. That's
go
good.
Fuck your mother or whatever.
We need a video on that. Young Ju, we need a video on you explaining all the parts that they did not translate properly and translating them properly.
Usually it's just them swearing at each other. At least I'm saying.
I hate that in movies where they don't put the translation in certain parts, even in like not even just that show, but there's movies and other shows that it's like, why would you not put it in? We need to know. Yeah.
Sometimes it's the opposite. I see movies and they've got subtitles of like background conversations that you don't even like make out of here that you're reading it. It's like,
or it's always funny when it's like breathes heavily. You're like, why?
I wonder what it's gonna take for them to create a fourth season.
Just this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
This show, we need it. We need it back, because to be honest with you, there's a big void of these types of shows right now.
Yeah.
Huge void. And then they could fill it, and it's on Netflix. It's just something about being on Netflix makes it different than like HBO Max or whatever else, Cinemax, whatever. There's so many of them, right? Because Netflix is just the most widely subscribed to platform, right? Yeah. So being on there, the first one, and if you have a fourth season, you could promote it differently. And then you already have the first 3 seasons there.
Get Connor on it.
Yeah, get Connor on it. Imagine that.
Couple minutes.
Connor versus Assam. Or what about Connor versus Young Jun or something? Something, right? Like, maybe Connor, he brings in a new group of Irish immigrants, and he's one of them. And he becomes like that can fight, right? And he's just like, we got a new guy. Let's bring him in.
Try Connor's ass take over with the not more ass cheeks.
Connor's getting out the
I'm not doing wooden, that unless
he's getting out the wooden barrel in the bath. You know what I mean? It's like the camera's view, and he just gets up, and it's just his ass, and you're just like, oh, you're Young Jun. And Young Jun's like, damn.
I love how they when they talk amongst each other, they speak in English and it's perfect English,
yeah.
so we can understand. But then when they talk to an English person, it's like
Yeah.
an accent, and
Yeah.
I think I did that brilliantly.
They did, and I like it because it makes it easier viewing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they don't like reading subtitles.
No. And-
Especially Americans.
But one thing that is cool is like they changed the perspective a little bit. So when it's like, say like one of the cops and everything, and they're talking, if the Cantonese speakers are talking between each other and everything, you hear Cantonese, right? And then they speak English to. But then when they switch it around, it's just everything's English and everything's it's
really
like,
good.
it's smart how
They
do it.
did a decent job with that.
Yeah.
Right. But like, that's the problem with certain shows. If you do it all in another language, a lot of people, even though how great the show would be, a lot of people turned off just by that, just because, man, I don't want to read subtitles because I'm reading the bottom of the screen and not watching.
It's work, yeah. It's
Man,
It is work, but
especially with fight scenes. It's
if
like,
you're good at
don't
it,
talk. I gotta fuck.
you got to get used to it. You got to get used to it.
Yeah.
It's like a trained thing, because I was like that for a long time, because my wife, she's been watching subtitle movies forever because she's watching the Hollywood movies. Me, English is our first language, so we're lucky,
yeah.
right? We're fortunate to just be able to watch it without any subtitles.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how do you watch all these shows and movies with subtitles? And I'm just watching it with her, but I'm not even reading the subtitles.
If they're on, like my eyes are on them. I gotta turn them
Oh,
off.
I never
find
do.
them.
No,
Even
like,
if it's
I
on.
just, I'm
in
forced to
in
read.
Hong Kong movie theaters, even if it's an English movie, they have a lot of the time they have Cantonese subtitles or whatever. So I've gotten so used to ignoring subtitles that sometimes it becomes an issue that I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to read that, and I'm like,
Because some languages, like English language, right? You have to put it. What is this, diagonal?
yeah,
You have to put it diagonal, but horizontal, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to put it anywhere else except for the bottom.
Yeah.
But then certain other languages, you could
could
write
do
it
vertical,
down vertical,
yeah.
right? So like in Korean, you could write it vertical if you really want to. You could put it on the side. I wonder how that would change your viewing pleasure. I don't
No,
know.
I reckon that'd be.
That'd be
tough
weird?
to-
It'd
yeah,
almost
yeah.
be weird, right? Yeah.
Especially if like some widescreen, then you put on not widescreen, it gets cut off.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. The show is great. It's in
Great.
English most of the time, and we need you to watch it because we want a fourth season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully,
Go binge it
yes.
now.
Binge it now.